And here we are. Good evening. Welcome to episode. I have to look because let's be honest, days of the week are not really our friend at the moment. And it's hard to tell the difference between a weekday, a weekend, and whether or not Easter has already happened. This is Shelf Analysis, episode 7 here in the Ricochet Book Club. Of course, I'm Ricochet here with you for about the next maybe 25 minutes or so. Continuing the series slightly in a different form this week as well, remembering because it's Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday now we're doing the episodes from now on, mainly because I'm exhausted, as well as being on the radio 5 days a week. That's where you're going to be able to find the episodes here. All of the previous ones, you can find them in the announcements section here in the Ricochet Book Club, or our friends at RTE Culture are putting out some of the episodes as well, so you'll be able to find them there if you just go to rte.ie/culture. Maybe for people who aren't on Facebook, you'll find it there as well. I was talking with you in the last program and at the tail end of last week, and I've been talking on social media as well about having problems with being able to read, having problems with concentration at the moment. And it's not that I'm spending all my time on social media, or it's not that I'm spending all my time watching TV news, because I'm not. But still, when I was coming down to it and attempting to read something, finding myself getting very distracted, finding my trains of thought running elsewhere, and finding myself essentially unable to read any more than 3 or 4 pages without having to go back and reread some of what I'd already read. I might have broken it a little today. I don't know. I don't want to jinx it. So I decided I was going to lay aside the 2 books that I was reading. And instead, what I've done is I picked up 2 more. So what I normally do is I have a book that I'm reading, usually fiction, and then one for the bedside, which is normally non-fiction, which usually takes me a little bit longer to read. So here is, this was one of Karina's original recommendations. It's Kim Ji-young, born in 1982. Which I only just started today, but which I'm already about 40 pages into. I do like Japanese, Korean, Chinese literature. This seemed to, I sat and read 30 pages with impunity today. It's interesting. I'll let you know what I feel about it maybe further on, once I've read a little bit more of it as well. And I'm bringing this up to the bedside table tonight because I recommended the first book when I was on Sean O'Rourke recently. This is Sean Bethel's Confessions of a Bookseller. You might know Sean as being the proprietor of the Wigtown Bookshop in Scotland. They're the largest second-hand bookstore in Scotland. And Sean's diary is the diary of him being a bookseller and people coming into the bookstore and asking for the strangest things and trying to sell him the most unusual items. I found the first one hilarious. I loved it. And I feel like this is going to be the balm that maybe my brain needs right now. So that's what I'm doing right now. I have a favor to ask. If you're part of a book club anywhere around the country, you're obviously not meeting up in reality at the moment. Maybe you can do us a little help, though, for the upcoming series of The Book Show on RTE Radio 1. The Book Show is going to be coming back at the end of this month, Sunday nights on RTE Radio 1. One of the things that we want to do is that we want to get in contact with book clubs around the country. I'm going to ask you to get in contact with us. What are you reading at the moment? Have you been together? Have you been meeting up until a certain point? Are you guys meeting virtually now? We're interested in that. Contact us using the email bookshow@rte.ie. It's the only one, bookshow@rte.ie. And you can get in contact with the producers of the show, because what we're going to do is we're going to allow some of you guys to ask questions of some of your favorite authors and whose books that you've read across the course of the year. Of course, it's the 21st century. We can do all of this remotely. So if you're a book club around the country, you fancy getting involved, you don't need to be together. All you need to do is drop an email to bookshow@rte.ie and let us know about yourselves. Before we go to our guest, who has been one of the previous people who has been interrogated by a book club on the Book Show on RTE Radio 1, let's see what Karina is reading tonight, if you're new to the show. Karina is one of our houseplants. She was the star of the very first show we had, and now people have started asking what Karina is reading every night. Karina has been allowed to choose the Ricochet Book Club Book of the Month. We're picking one just for now for the month of April 2020. And Karina has chosen, where is she? I'm going to press this now, and Karina's going to, there you go. She's going to come in and tell us what she's doing. Karina, what have you got? Karina has chosen. Smart one. I like it. She may have been on the sauce while she chose it, but that's okay. Hello, Karina. Good evening. Michelle Gallen's Big Girl, Small Town. I know this is a favorite of people I know. That was creepy. She's a favorite. The book is a favorite of people I know, including Sinead Moriarty, who's loved that. very much. So Karina, with her now disembodied hand, has chosen Big Girl, Small Town as the Ricochet Book Club Book of the Month for April 2020. There'll be more details about that in the book club tomorrow, but that's the book for now, and that's the one you need to know. Karina, remember, that's a lot of wine for a small plant. Okay, take it handy. Okay, promise? Good? Yeah, okay, all right. We're done here. Goodbye. Our guest tonight on the show needs pretty much no introduction as far as contemporary Irish authors do, so I'm not really going to give him one. I've had the pleasure of interviewing him on stage a number of times before. He has been on the book show as well on RTE Radio 1. And I was listening to him on Live Line today. Hello, good evening, and welcome to John Boyne in John Boyne's house. Hello, John Boyne.
Hello, Ricochet. How are you?
I'm all right. The first question for everybody that we end up talking to is always, how are you getting on? Because people are in different situations. There are people who live with other people. There are people who are, in flats with other people. There are people who are living by themselves. How's the last kind of maybe week, 10 days just been for you?
It's been okay. I live alone anyway, and I'm used to being at home. I write from home, I work from home, so I don't have it as bad as a lot of people in that sense. I've got my routines that I have here anyway. I guess I'm like everybody. I'm kind of missing family and friends, and going out for a drink and having a chat. But I think in the great scheme of things, I don't have 5 children running around to entertain or anything. And I'm not killing a family member, so I'm okay in the great scheme of it.
And as a writer, because I know I was having a conversation with people about ability to read and that kind of thing, I have seen quite a lot of writers on social as well saying that they're finding it hard to do the knuckling down and the writing thing at the moment. How's that been for you?
Yeah, it's strange because even though I say that my routines haven't changed, my days haven't changed that much, I'm not doing as much work as normal. I guess I've been tied up anyway with that kids competition that I've been doing, and I've my book is finished for this year. But I've been working on a script for a TV show, and I've never written a script before, so it's something new for me. But I would say that I'm not working as hard necessarily as I often do. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just kind of psychological that I just feel a bit sort of, because I know I can't go out. I'm not even dressing right. I'm wearing sweatpants, and I don't normally wear sweatpants.
That's a perfectly acceptable thing for all of us to do. Nonsense. Because out of all of the people I've interviewed. Out of all of the people I've interviewed over the years, you're pretty much the one who has most talked about that discipline, where you've kind of said, I write 364 days a year. It happens, boom, 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 boom. So is that partially, do you think, because you're working at the moment then doing something completely new you've never done before?
Yeah. I mean, normally that discipline is there for sure, and it's just how I fill my days, and it's a routine that I'm in. I think I've just had, because everything just feels different right now, and because I'm trying something different in writing a script, and because everything outside, the days I'm not going to I meet my friend usually every week to play squash. I might meet my sister or whatever for a drink. Everything just feels very different in some way. So maybe my routine just feels a bit messed up.
Tell me very briefly, perhaps, because I swung across the dial today and I found Live Line, and you were on Live Line with Joe announcing the winners. When you announced that short story competition for kids, did you have any sense that you were going to be as overwhelmed as you were?
I really didn't. As I said to Joe today, I thought we might get at most maybe 150, maybe 200 stories, and I just had 6 judges, and I thought we'll each read about 30. And at one point they were coming in, sort of every 10 seconds there was a new story arriving. We got up to about 6,000 and had to have in the end 28 judges. And it's a lot of reading, and it's a lot of time for other people, to give up, considering I had to go to them and say, look, you've got to help me out here, please. So it was actually, I should have asked you.
No, it's fine, really. I didn't think about it more than once. No, it's okay. It's
sorry. But believe me, it was a lot of reading. So it's been really good though to get to the end today. And actually last night, because the 3 I phoned each one of them myself to tell them, and just the excitement they had, and they were just thrilled, and they were real books people and writers, and it was just really nice to feel their excitement And it just made all the hard work actually really worthwhile. And then this afternoon, I've been emailing all the winners. Like we've got about 140 winners in total because we've more than 7,000 euros worth of book tokens to distribute. So I've been emailing all of them and getting a lot of emails back saying, "Oh, really appreciate it, thank you." And so it's not something I would rush back into doing again anytime soon, but it was definitely worthwhile.
I'm going to show you something before, because we ask all of our authors to pick, kind of 3-4 books that they like and they'd like to just, recommend to people at the moment. You probably haven't seen this, but I wanted to make sure that you did, because in the book club over the last couple of days, and I'm going to stick this up here now, and I hope you can see it on your screen. This is from Suzanne Bt. Suzanne, and that's a picture of Suzanne's house. And there's a picture of the Heart's Invisible Furies there as well. That's a doll's house.
I've only seen the very top of the picture.
Oh, okay. You're not saying. Well, hang on. Let me try giving you this.
It's like the old dialogue. It's look. When you would sit there looking at. Well, I wouldn't even say what I would be looking at back in the.
No. We'll sit here and wait for the progress bar. But for those people who can see it here on my end, she's created her own doll's house, obviously, but she has put on it, on a little tray, there's a copy of the book that she's reading, and it is a tiny miniature Heart's Invisible Furies.
Oh, that's amazing.
Maybe, and I'm probably going to make your life more complicated now than it has to be as well. But maybe for everybody else here, you can have a look at this, because that's an actual sized copy of the Heart's Invisible Furies and her tiny version. She's gone into doing Terry Pratchett books today. It's really impressive stuff.
That's fantastic. I love it. What's it made of? Is it just made of like little cardboard or something?
I think it's just tiny paper or cardboard, and she seems to be putting together an entire library, apparently, which is either a work of genius or insanity, and it's kind of hard to tell which it is.
I love it. Yeah.
Okay, we're going to get into the books that you are going to suggest for people now. What have you got for book number 1?
Okay, well, I'm choosing, in an odd way, I'm choosing something I haven't yet read, because it was only published yesterday. But this writer is so reliable, and from what I hear, this is going to be one of the books of the year. So it's Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell.
Yeah.
Maggie O'Farrell is a fantastic writer, of course. She's written so many wonderful novels, and this was just published yesterday. And it's about Shakespeare's son, Hamnet, who died as a boy, and shortly afterwards, then he wrote Hamlet. And it's all about Shakespeare's life and the boy, and it's just getting great buzz. So it's probably the next book I'm going to read. So even though I know I'm supposed to be recommending books, I think I can safely recommend this one, because I think I seem to be going wrong on the camera. I think it's going to be a really good one. So
it's not television. We can afford to screw up as much as we want here. It's absolutely fine.
Instinctively, I have to go right when I need to go down. So it's
Yeah, all I've heard about Hamnet from, again, people I know as well, and again, my copy is shamefully sitting on the shelf over my shoulder, is just exceptional stuff. But it's
so I think it's going to be good.
Good call. Okay, what's book number 2?
Book number 2 is a book I read earlier in the year and I really liked, and it is The Secret Guests by B.W. Black, who is also known as Mr. John Banville. And this is a fantastic novel. It's about it supposes what if Princess Elizabeth and Princess Margaret had been sent to Ireland during the Blitz, and what takes place. So they go to kind of like you can see it from the cover, like an old kind of big house, so it's the big house kind of novel, and the IRA are sort of aware that they might be there and they're trying to capture them. And there's all sorts of shenanigans going on. But the girls, the 2 princesses, are just little girls, and they're really, really well drawn, because Princess Elizabeth, now Queen Elizabeth, of course, is very stoic, and she'll do what she's told. She's very dutiful. Whereas Princess Margaret is just chaotic, and it's a terrific novel. And I think John's got 2 novels coming, because he got this one now. Has just come out, and then he's got a regular John Banville novel coming, I believe, in September, October, something like that. So we are spoiled by Mr. Banville this year, so I would recommend this.
Yeah, because to describe him as prolific is putting it mildly, because not only does he have obviously John Banville novels, but then there's Benjamin Black novels, and now obviously this is his third identity.
I don't know what the W stands for. I don't know if it's like maybe white, black. I don't know, but we should ask him. You can ask him next time we're interviewing.
Next time we do an interview, we'll do that. And do you know what? I'd love the idea of potentially having John Banville sitting at a screen beside me one of these nights. If anybody can make that happen, please get in contact. Drop me an email to rick@rte.ie. Really? We'll have a conversation later. Okay. What else have you got? You got a third book for us?
The third book I have is the best book I've read so far this year. I know it's only April 1st, but
you read a lot.
I do. It's such a fun age. by Kylie Reid, American novel. And it is really about race in America. It's about an African-American woman, young woman, who is a nanny. And one night she takes her charge, a little white girl, to, a supermarket, grocery store, because her parents are fighting. And when she's there, she basically gets accused of having kidnapped. Who's this child? Why are you with her? And it's a storm then happens of just basic racism in America. But then the mother of the child in the book is almost on the other extreme. She's trying so hard all this time to not be racist that she's actually kind of racist. And it goes back into her teenage years and things, and what made her the person she is. So it's absolutely compulsive. I absolutely adored it. I loved it.
Hey, you said you might have 4.
Yes,
Did you tell me
I do. I have a 4th.
You're sticking a bonus.
I have a bonus book
okay.
Because I thought during this time when we're all at home, maybe you want to read something big and classic you've never read. And last year I read a book I'd never read. Moby Dick.
Oh wow! Okay.
And I sat down and I started reading Moby Dick. The size of that, it's a beautiful edition. It's got like illustrations and things. It's Folio Society edition. You can see beautiful illustrations. And I, as I started it, I thought, is this going to be like a real slog? Is this going to be really, really hard to read? But actually, it's incredibly pacey. And the chapters are very short. Every chapter is about 3 pages long, which helps because you can kind of read it in little snappy moments. But it's a lot pacier than I expected it to be. It has got real dynamism to it. I guess a classic lasts for a reason, and usually they should be good. But if you're looking for something big that you've never read and you'd like to give it a go, I would recommend The Whale, Moby Dick.
I'm trying to look. Give me a moment. I'm going to do that thing of no. Okay, so I bought a copy about 2 years ago. Very nice edition. Again, not quite as nice as yours, but I did, and it was there. I bought that and Don Quixote on the same day. I thought, look, I'm going to go all out. I'm going to have a crack at these. They were both sitting on the shelf up until 6 months ago over there, and they've now been moved upstairs to the I'm going to read them one day shelf, and I feel really guilty about that.
Well, nobody should feel guilty, I think, about not reading something, but I think if you're going to read something like this, you have to find the most beautiful edition you can. Like, even the type is quite big in this, so it's not as intimidating as it might otherwise feel. If you bought this in a sort of 300-page edition where the type is tiny, and you think, oh my God, every time you turn the page and you see a block of text, you think, I can't go on. But if you buy a beautiful edition, a little bit more money into it, I don't know, it just sort of helps the reading experience. I know it shouldn't. It's only the words that matter, but in real life, you need something to kind of help you get through something like that.
I think for a lot of people as well, there's that thing of, I can't possibly bring that on the Dart or the bus. That's just, I can't hike it around with me. It's 800 pages.
Yeah, but nobody's on the Dart or the bus at the moment, so they shouldn't.
All true.
So, we're all sitting at home, remember?
All true.
So I think this is a time to read something like that.
I've got a bunch of things coming in. Paula O'Sullivan says, I read The Heart's Invisible Furies twice. I never reread books. Thank you, Paula. Diane says, John's my favorite author, always hooked after the first line of his novels. There's a load of this going on. I'm just going to keep throwing it your way. Nuala just wants to know, what is your most favorite book of the books that you've written?
Oh, I would say it's The Heart's Invisible Furies. Yeah, I think that's the one. Possibly because it's funny. And most of my books are kind of miserable, and I liked being able to write something humorous. So, and I love the fact that people really responded to that book a lot. So I like that, and I like A Ladder to the Sky. I think it's a bit. I think it's fun to read, even though it's kind of a nasty character.
Yeah, you could describe yourself as going through a bit of a purple patch at the moment. I mean, this is the perfect moment for me to do this, which is bring up the cover of the new book. This cover is gorgeous. Traveller at the Gates of Wisdom. I know. Just the cover is beautiful. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about the upcoming book.
This comes out in July, and it is it's a very different book for me. It begins in the year 1 on the night that King Herod sent the soldiers out to kill the babies. It ends in the year 2080, and it goes across 52 countries in 2,000 years. And it follows not a person, but emotion in a way. My idea behind it was that all through the centuries, while technology, industry, everything changes, but the thing that never changes in any country at any time is emotions. That, for example, if you lose a loved one, if you fall in love, if you become a parent, the emotions that you feel say, in Ireland in 2020 would be the same emotions somebody would feel, say, in Turkey in 740 or Brazil in 1120. So I keep moving from country to country in 40-year chunks, and everything that's happened so far in the book will then have happened to the person who picks up the story. So it sounds a bit weird, I know, but if I've done it right, it should be, I think, kind of entertaining to readers, hopefully. If I've done it wrong, it's going to look like a complete mess. But we'll find out. There's nothing I can do about it now anyway. It's
your publisher obviously thinks it's absolutely great because it's there. It's in physical copy. It's got the cover. What do you know about the image on the front as well? The image is it's really striking.
Yeah, it's beautiful because they've been doing a lot of these from my books. They like these kind of jackets with a person on the front, and they always find some strikingly handsome man to put on the front, and they never seem to ask me whether I'd like to be on the front or if I'd like to be at the photo shoot. And I think they're really good.
Just got to suck that one up. Yeah.
I think they're really elegant looking, very classy looking. So yeah, I'm kind of thrilled by it. I like the big typeface and everything as well. So yeah.
Is there a kind of strange, and there is obviously for certain authors at the moment, every day it seems that there is another book that we're finding out that isn't going to be released over the course of the next kind of few weeks, and it's being bumped to later in the year, or in the case of one book I know, bumped to next year. I realize that's going to be July. Are you slightly nervous as to whether or not that's going to come out on time?
I am. I'd like it to come out anyway, because it's ready and readers are out there. I'd like them to read it. So I figure even though we may not be able to get into bookshops, we can buy from bookshops still. So many bookshops are still selling online and so on. It's tricky. It's very hard for people, I think, with these new books. Like, for example, Maggie, I mentioned Hamlet earlier, that her book coming out. And it is the kind of book that maybe you wander into the bookshop and you see a load of them and they look beautiful and you know her name and you pick it up. So I don't know. Look, the way I figure these things is I have no control over so many different things, and if I don't have any control over it, there's not much point me worrying about it. So, as far as I know right now, it's coming out in July, and the US edition is coming out in August. And if I hear differently, I hear differently. But in the meantime, I'm just going to get on with things.
I think stoicism goes a long way in these situations. I think you might be right. You just maybe before we finish up with you, I love looking at people's bookshelves. What have you got? What's going on there behind you? Yes. What about the room you're in?
Well, when I was talking to you earlier, I was outside in the office outside, but the Wi-Fi wasn't brilliant, so I moved inside.
Okay.
So the way that I organize my house is each room has books, but they're done geographically. So this room, and you can see books behind me here, and if I get this moved around, but this is where all the British fiction is.
Okay.
All right. So in my living room, I've got the Irish fiction and translated fiction, and upstairs I've got an American room, and so I move, and then everything is alphabetical within it. So you can see behind me that's William Golding, all my William Golding books. And what else can you see down here? These are Rachel Joyce, and so they're all alphabetical. John Lanchester, Philip Hensher, who I love. And then I leave all those big spaces so I can get other books in, and I can put little ornaments and so on. You can just about see my squash trophy.
Wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, 2019 champion, John Boyne. There you go.
Congratulations.
You can keep your Booker prizes. I've got my squash trophy. So I like to be surrounded by books, and books do furnish a room, as they say.
Do things get cold? Because I was talking to Liz Nugent on this program last week, and she said that she'd just gone through a whole situation where she went, no, there's a load of things going. I think she said there was about 2,000 of her books went.
Yeah, sometimes you have to. I mean, there's only so much physical space, and I buy a lot of books and I get sent a lot of books. So I guess about once a year I go through them, and if there's something that maybe has been sent to me and I've not read it and I know I'm never going to read it, then I fill up boxes and bring them to down to the charity shop or whatever. I like to think that most of the things on the shelves are books that actually really mean something to me, that I've read. I can almost remember where I was. Hopefully I love them. But you do have to every so often do it. Well, it's not fun, but it's, as I said, there's only some shelves in the house.
This is where we finish up. I'm conscious that it has been an extraordinarily long day for you, because some of the authors we're talking to have literally been going, give me something to do in the day. But for you, this was one of those days when everything was all going on at the same time. If people want to see whether or not they've won prizes, they are printing those in the Irish Times website. And
they're already there. They're on
stories.
yeah. Right. On the Irish Times website at the moment, they have the 3 winning stories, the category winners. But they also have the full list of every child who has won a prize, from the €20 vouchers to the €200 vouchers. So if you're a young person who's entered, or if you're a parent or a grandparent, whatever, and you're looking to find out, on the Irish Times website right now, they're all there. But also, I have emailed everybody who has won, so they should also know about it. But you can read them on the website, and you can read them in the newspaper tomorrow.
Okay. John Boyne, thank you again for giving us half an hour of your time, and I will see you.
And don't forget, and in 2 weeks' time, the paperback of My Brother's Name is Jessica, which was not a controversial book in any way, is coming out. So you can pre-order that if you feel urged.
And what date is that coming out?
It's coming out on the.
What date is that again?
16th of April. So if the
16th of April.
If you want to pre-order that, that would be lovely.
And that's always a big deal with authors, I think, for any book that's coming out maybe over the next 6 months, is that people don't tend to appreciate maybe physically those books may be coming at the time, but even just the pre-orders make an enormous amount of difference to all.
Oh, they really do, yeah. They do, because they kind of get you into the charts and so on, and then that helps bookshops reorder and so on. So, yeah.
John Boyne, always a pleasure, my friend. Thank you very much indeed for letting me into the house tonight.
Okay.
Cheers.
See ya, and thank you all.
See ya.
Okay, bye.
Thanks. Bye. John Boyne at home. He's the very latest guest tonight in the show. That's it. We're done for tonight. Again, if you want to check out all the previous episodes, you can find them in the announcements section here in the Ricochet Book Club. If you're watching to this on RTE Culture, you can click down into the subsection below, and you'll find all the details of all the previous ones that we've done here. Just click the shelf analysis tab that's at the bottom of this post in RTE Culture, and some of the previous ones are there as well. We're back with another episode tomorrow night here in the Ricochet Book Club. We will be live from 8 o'clock. Tomorrow night, what can I tell you? Tomorrow night, we're going to Belfast. I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.